There's a tweet I wrote years ago that seemed to resonate with millions of people. It was just 2 words: productize yourself. It sounds simple, it sounds like a marketing slogan, but if you unpack those 2 words, you find the entire operating system for wealth creation in the modern age. Most people are doing one or the other. They are either being themselves, pursuing hobbies, relaxing, hanging out, but making no money. Or they are productizing, building a business, working a job, fitting into a corporate slot, but losing themselves in the process. The traditional economy forces you to choose. You can be a starving artist, or you can be a rich corporate grown product. The Productize Yourself formula is the escape hatch. It is the realization that the only way to get truly wealthy and stay wealthy is to figure out what you are uniquely good at and then scale it using technology. Yourself has uniqueness, Productize has leverage, yourself has authenticity, Productize has accountability, yourself has specific knowledge. Productize has specific utility. If you can merge these 2, you escape competition. You escape the rat race. The goal of this guide is not to motivate you. Motivation is unreliable. The goal is to give you the mental models to restructure your life so that wealth becomes a byproduct of your existence rather than the result of your suffering. We are going to break this down into the constituent elements: specific knowledge, accountability, leverage, and judgment. This is the step-by-step guide to productizing yourself. Chapter 1, the trap of the standard path. To understand the solution, we must first understand the problem. Why are most people poor? Or, if not poor, why are they stuck in a constant state of financial anxiety? It is because they are playing a game with bad odds. They are playing a zero-sum game. The standard path, go to school, get a degree, get a job, climb the ladder, is a game of perfect competition. In economics, perfect competition is terrible for the participant. It means there is no profit left on the table because everyone is competing for the same dollar. When you apply for a job as a marketing manager, you are competing with 10,000 other marketing managers. You are a commodity. You are fungible. If you demand a higher salary, the employer will just hire the next person in line who is willing to take less. In a commodity market, the price is driven down to the marginal cost of production. In the labor market, that means your wage is driven down to the bare minimum needed to keep you alive and working. You cannot get rich this way. You are renting out your time. And time is a limited resource. The Productize Yourself path is the antithesis of the standard path. It is about becoming a monopoly of one. If you are the only person in the world who does what you do, you are not competing. You are setting the price. You are not begging for a salary. You are capturing value. The journey starts by looking inward. You have to find the thing that makes you a monopoly. Chapter 2, excavating yourself. Specific knowledge. The first half of the equation is yourself. This translates to the concept of specific knowledge. Specific knowledge is the knowledge that you cannot be trained for. If you can be trained for it, someone else can be trained for it, and then they will replace you. If you go to medical school, you are learning general knowledge. It is hard knowledge, yes. It is valuable knowledge, yes. But it is not specific to you. Any other smart person who goes through the same curriculum will come out with the same knowledge. That is why doctors are well paid, but they are rarely wealthy in the way we are talking about. They are still selling time. They are still replaceable by another doctor. Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your genuine curiosity and passion rather than whatever is hot right now. The childhood test. To find your specific knowledge, look back at your childhood. What were you doing when you were 10 years old before society told you what you should do? Were you writing stories? Were you trading baseball cards? Were you obsessed with how engines worked? Were you organizing the other kids into games? That natural inclination is the seed of your specific knowledge. It is the thing you do effortlessly. For me, it was reading. I loved reading. I loved science. I loved understanding how things worked. I didn't read to get smart. I read because I couldn't help it. Later in life, that morphed into a specific knowledge of technology, markets, venture capital, and startup philosophy. I didn't go to school for that. I learned it by doing it and by following my obsession. The play metric. Here's the metric. Specific knowledge feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. This is crucial. If you are doing something that feels like work, you will eventually burn out. You will be competing against someone for whom it feels like play. The person playing will work 16 hours a day. They will think about it in the shower. They will dream about it. You, who are working, will clock out at 5 p.m. You cannot compete with someone who is playing, so you must find the thing that feels like play. The combination lock. Specific knowledge is rarely one thing. It is usually a unique combination of 2 or 3 things. Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, is a perfect example. He is not the funniest person in the world. He is not the best cartoonist in the world. He is not the most experienced corporate employee in the world, but he is pretty funny, he draws okay, and he has deep experience in corporate culture. When you combine those 3 things, you get Dilbert, you get a monopoly. You want to stack your interests. Maybe you are into architecture, and you are also into coding, and you are also into environmental sustainability. Separately, these are crowded fields. Combined, you are the world's leading expert on programmatic sustainable architecture. The anti-education. This is why traditional education often fails people. Schools are factories designed to produce standardized parts. They want you to be a specialist in one narrow, predefined category. Productize Yourself requires you to be a polymath. It requires you to be messy. It requires you to follow your nose. Don't worry about whether your interests make sense together. If you are authentically interested in them, they will make sense eventually. The market is big enough that there is a niche for almost any authentic combination of skills. Chapter trees, the productize engine, the leverage, stacked. The second half of the equation is productize. Yourself without productize is just a hobby. You might be the world's greatest expert on 18th century French poetry, but if you don't productize it, you are just a smart person in a room. Productizing means applying leverage to your specific knowledge. Leverage is what amplifies your output. It is what disconnects your inputs time from your outputs money. There are 4 forms of leverage. You must understand them deeply. Labor leverage. This is people working for you. For thousands of years, this was the only way to get rich. If you wanted to build a pyramid, you needed 10,000 people. If you wanted to run a factory, you needed 1,000 workers. Society overvalues this form of leverage. We are impressed when someone says, I have 500 employees. But labor leverage is messy. Humans are complex. They have egos. They need management. They have rights. In the modern age, you want the minimum amount of labor leverage possible. You want to stay small and lean. 2, capital leverage. This is money. This is using $1 to make $5. This is the leverage of the 20th century. Warren Buffett uses capital leverage. Hedge funds use capital leverage. It is very scalable. If you are a good investor, managing $1 billion takes the same amount of time as managing $1 million. But capital leverage is permissioned. You need someone to give you the money. You need a track record. It is hard to get started. 3, code leverage. This is the leverage of the last 30 years. Software, algorithms, apps. Code is an army of robots that work for you while you sleep. They don't complain. They don't quit. They cost almost nothing to replicate. If you write a piece of software, you can ship it to 10 million people overnight. The marginal cost of the next user is 0. This is permissionless leverage. No one can stop you from learning Python. No one can stop you from uploading to the App Store. 4, media leverage, the creator's way. This is the newest frontier. Content, video, audio, text. This script is media leverage. Like code, it has 0 marginal cost of reproduction. 1 million people can listen to a podcast for the same cost as 1 person. This is also permissionless. You don't need a TV station anymore. You have YouTube. You have Twitter, X, the golden formula. To productize yourself, you need to combine specific knowledge with code or media. Ideally, both. You figure out what you know, specific knowledge, you write it down, record it, or code it, and then you let the internet distribute it to the world. This creates a flywheel. You put the product out, the product works while you sleep, the product brings you money, you use that capital to improve the product, and suddenly you are not trading time for money, you are trading value for money. The shift to products. Productize implies creating a standalone object or system. A service is not a product. Consulting is not a product. If you have to be there to deliver the value, it is not productized. A book is a product. A course is a product. A SaaS app is a product. An investment portfolio is a product. You want to move your career as close to product as possible and as far away from service as possible. Even if you are a doctor, can you build a medical device? Can you write a book on health? Can you invest in a clinic? Always look for the asset. Chapternalia, the vehicle accountability. So you have your specific knowledge, you have your leverage, the engine. Now you need the steering wheel. That is accountability. You cannot get rich without owning equity, and you cannot get equity without taking accountability. Accountability means sticking your neck out. It means putting your name on the line. In a traditional corporation, accountability is diffused. Everyone hides. The committee decided. We decided. No one wants to be the one who failed. But because no one takes the blame, no one gets the credit. And because no one gets the credit, no one gets the big reward. To productize yourself, you must become a brand. Naval is a brand. Elon is a brand. Oprah is a brand. These people take extreme accountability. If their companies fail, we blame them. Because they take that risk, society rewards them with equity ownership of the upside. The risk of public failure, this is why most people don't do it. Accountability is scary. We are evolved to fit into the tribe. To stand out and say, I am doing this, risks social ostracization if you fail. But in the modern world, the risks are lower than they seem. You won't starve. You won't die. You will just be embarrassed. And the rewards are infinite. People with high accountability are magnets for leverage. If you are known as someone who delivers, investors will give you money, capital leverage. Engineers will want to work with you. And accountability is the glue that holds the leverage stack together. Build under your own name. My advice, build under your own name. Don't hide behind a logo. Don't hide behind a pseudonym unless you have a very specific reason. When you build under your own name, you compound your reputation. If you build company X and it fails, you start over at zero. If John Doe builds company X and it fails, John Doe still has the experience, the contacts, and the lessons. His reputation might even grow because he tried and learned. Long term, you want to be the platform. The businesses you build are just apps running on the platform of you. Chapter 5. The market. Finding your niche. You have the skills. You have the leverage. You have the guts. Now, where do you point this weapon? You need to find a market, but not just any market. You need to find a market that wants what you have, but doesn't know how to get it yet. The supply and demand of you. Here is a paradox. You want to be a market of one, but you need a market large enough to pay you. The internet solves this. Before the internet, if you were obsessed with raising organic carnivorous plants, your market was the 3 other weirdos in your town. You couldn't make a living. With the internet, your market is every person on earth interested in carnivorous plants. That might be 100,000 people. If you can sell a $50 course to 1,000 of them a year, you have a living. If you can sell a $500 kit to them, you have a business. The work of the future. The best jobs are neither decreed nor designed. They are creative expressions of continuous learners in free markets. You want to find the intersection of what you are good at, specific knowledge, what you enjoy, what society needs. Society always wants new things, and society doesn't know how to get them yet. If society knew how to get them, they would already be mass-produced, and the profit would be zero. Your job is to figure out what society will want and deliver it to them before they even know how to ask for it. This requires judgment. Judgment is greater than hard work. In the age of leverage, one correct decision is worth more than a lifetime of hard work. If you are running a software company, deciding what to build is 100x more important than how fast you type the code. You have to cultivate judgment. Judgment comes from experience, but it also comes from studying the foundations. Study microeconomics, study game theory, study psychology, study persuasion, study ethics, study mathematics. These are the operating systems of reality. If you understand how the machine works, you can predict where it is going. Don't study the news. The news is noise. The news is what happened yesterday. You want to know what will happen tomorrow. Read the books that have survived for 50 years. They contain the truths that don't change. Chapter 6, the execution sprints versus marathons. How do you actually do the work? The 9 to 5 is a remnant of the industrial age. It is designed for endurance. It is designed for factory workers who need to turn a crank at a consistent pace for 8 hours. Knowledge work, creative work, it does not work like that. You cannot have a good idea for 8 hours straight. You cannot write brilliant code for 8 hours straight. Productizing yourself requires a different rhythm. It requires sprints. You should work like a lion. Lions do not hunt 9 to 5. Lions sit under a tree and sleep for 18 hours. They look lazy, but when they see the gazelle, they explode. They sprint with 100% intensity. They catch the prey, and then they eat and rest. This is how high-performance creative work happens. You wait for the inspiration, you wait for the right opportunity, and when it appears, you go all in. You work 24 hours a day for 3 days, you obsess, you build the prototype, you record the videos, and then when it is done, you rest, you recover, you read, you wander. The danger of busy. Most people are busy. They are answering emails. They are in meetings. They are rearranging papers. This is fake work. This is status signaling. Look how hard I am working. If you are productizing yourself, you don't care about looking busy. You care about the output. If you can build a product in 2 hours, do it in 2 hours. Then spend the rest of the day thinking. Your empty space is where your best ideas come from. If your calendar is full, you have no room for the serendipity that leads to wealth. You need slack in your system. The art of iteration. You will not get it right the first time. Your first product will fail. Your first video will get 0 views. This is part of the algorithm. The cost of failure in the digital age is 0. If you launch a blog post and no one reads it, you lost nothing but an hour of time. So you iterate, you launch again. The formula is launch is greater than feedback, is greater than learn, is greater than iterate. Do this loop faster than anyone else. The person who iterates 100 times in a year will beat the person who iterates 10 times in a year, even if the second person is smarter. Evolution is just iteration at scale. Be evolution. Chapter 7, the long game compounding. You have to understand the time horizon. Productize yourself is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a get-rich-certain scheme. But certain takes time. Everything in life comes from compound interest. Compound money, compound knowledge, compound relationships, reputation. When you first start building your personal platform, nothing happens. You write for a year, 100 people read it. You code for a year, no one downloads it. This is the valley of death. This is where everyone quits. But if you keep going, the curve starts to bend. 100 readers become 1,000. 1,000 become 10,000. 10,000 become 100,000. The returns at the end of the curve are astronomical. Warren Buffett made 99% of his net worth after his 50th birthday. Think about that. 99%. All the work he did from age 20 to 50 was just setting up the compounding engine for the explosion at the end. You must have patience. And this is a critical distinction, you must have patience with results, but impatience with actions. Be impatient today. Write the code today. Record the video today. Do not procrastinate, but be patient with the payoff. Don't check the analytics every hour. Don't check the bank account every day. Trust the math. If you are feeding the compounding engine, the result is inevitable. Avoiding status games. The biggest threat to your compounding is status. Status is the enemy of wealth. Status games are zero sum. When you play status games, you get jealous. You get distracted. You start doing things to impress other people rather than to build value. You buy the fancy car too early. You take the job with the fancy title instead of the equity. Ignore status. Let people think you are a loser. Let people think you are unemployed. Let people think you are crazy. While they are fighting for the corner office, you are building a machine that will buy the building. Chapter 8, The Mental Game, Happiness and Freedom. Finally, we must address the why. Why go through all this trouble? Why productize yourself? It is not for the money. Money is just a tool. It is for freedom. Freedom from alarm clocks. Freedom from bosses. Freedom from doing things you don't want to do. Freedom to say what you think. Freedom to be yourself 24 hours a day. But there's a trap at the end of the rainbow. Many people get rich, but they remain miserable. They just upgrade their lifestyle. They buy a bigger house, so they need more money. So they have to work harder, so they have less time. They become rich slaves. To win the game, you must also master your internal state. You must learn that happiness is a skill, just like wealth is a skill. Happiness is the absence of desire. It is the ability to be content with what you have while you build what you want. If you productize yourself correctly, you will eventually reach a point where you have enough. You have the passive income. You have the freedom. At that point, you have to be smart enough to stop. You have to be smart enough to say, I have won the game. Don't keep playing just to see the score go up. Use your freedom to explore the universe, to love, to create art, to understand consciousness. That is the ultimate yourself. The summary checklist. Let's condense this entire 6,000 word philosophy into a checklist you can look at every morning. Find your specific knowledge, what feels like play to you but looks like work to others. Take accountability, put your name on it, own the risk, apply leverage, use code and media to scale your specific knowledge to the world. Find the niche. Serve a market that wants what you have but doesn't know how to get it. Prioritize judgment. One good decision is greater than 1,000 hours of grunt work. Work like a lion, not a cow. Play the long game, trust in compound interest. Seek freedom, not status. Don't buy things to impress people you don't like. The beauty of the internet is that it allows everyone to be themselves. There are 8 billion people on Earth. There is a niche for everyone. You don't need to be better than everyone else. You just need to be the only person who is you. Go build,